Yesterday we talked about deep, profound topics, things that act as the foundation for relationships. A computer has its BIOS and other intricate settings. If you configure them properly, everything works well. If not, everything crashes. Similarly, I talked about the importance of setting yourself up. Many people didn't grasp this during the lecture. I was talking about subtle, elevated ideas like how to treat a woman properly. Why does her nature make you feel diminished? Why doesn't she act the way you want? Why do men make you feel disrespected? Why doesn't he behave the way you want? The root cause is that while we have a divine nature, we often aim it in the wrong direction. We seek to take happiness for ourselves, and this creates pain for everyone. Relationships between men and women trigger a strong desire for happiness. Take, for example, a man living alone. He doesn't need much money or food, but as soon as he starts living with a woman, he wants better food, better care, more comfort. This desire to take happiness from her is immediately activated. The same goes for a woman. Living alone, she doesn't need much, but as soon as a man enters her life, she wants to receive happiness from him. This desire to enjoy always causes pain. Wise people endure and compromise, while foolish people fight for their point of view. No matter what, we must understand this law. The root of all suffering lies in the misunderstanding of the energy of love, which leads to a strong craving and desire for relationships between men and women. We want love, but we need to serve it instead. This misunderstanding forms the foundation of our existence. We fail to grasp that we cannot learn to love properly on our own. The only way is to find a mentor, a spiritual guide, and adopt their way of life and perception of the world. Once a person sets themselves up correctly, shifting their sense of self-esteem towards service, their attitude to the energy of love transforms as well. Most people desire to enjoy the energy of love. This means that in their dreams they constantly long for the kind of love they've been waiting for their whole lives, a powerful, all-encompassing love. This desire for love is rooted in lust or the craving to indulge in that energy. It's embedded in our very dreams. From the start, we want the wrong thing. A person who truly understands what to desire doesn't seek love itself. They seek pure, elevated, and mutual relationship. In such a relationship, you perform acts of selflessness, giving yourself, and in return, you receive pure gratitude from your partner, gratitude that is filled with loyalty, depth, and wisdom. Such a relationship has a light, pure, and luminous nature. But the relationships most of us long for are driven by craving. We want intense feelings, not light and pure relationships. We crave strong emotions. We want to enjoy the energy of love and seek pleasure from our partner. But intense emotions often mean pulling the blanket of love toward ourselves. This selfish grasping of the energy of love leads only to suffering. This craving for love is a dangerous thing. At some point, this thirst for love needs to stop. You must realize that you're asking for too much from your partner, that you're constantly pressuring them with your desire for happiness. Sometimes you simply need to do something good for your partner. This is where love and true relationships begin. What specific good deeds can you do? That's what we'll discuss today. This stems from the inherent nature of men and women, their character and their behavior. What do men need? What do women need? How are men and women different? We'll explore this today. Let me first show you how a man should behave when he sees that a woman is suffering. He needs to comfort his wife. He says, like in a song, "My little berry, don't hide your beautiful brown eyes from me. Forgive me for my foolish words." How does the man behave? He speaks to the woman as though she's sacred, praising her beauty, purity, and lightness. About himself, he says he is foolish. Forgive me for my foolish words. Most men might think this is childish nonsense. Am I some kid to act this way? But if a man thinks like that, he has no chance of building a healthy relationship with a woman. Ladies, did you like the way he comforted her?
Yes.
Really? Amazing. And who didn't like it? Be honest. How would you prefer to be comforted? Let's give her the microphone. There's a woman who raised her hand. I'd like to talk to her. This is very important. Whenever there's someone who thinks differently, it either opens up a new perspective or reinforces the same truth. Miss, you raised your hand. How would you like your husband to comfort you?
I can't even imagine. I'm probably not used to something like that and don't understand it.
What's your name?
Anna.
Anna, dear, it's so hard for you right now. You've been feeling down for 2 years. You're such a joyful little sunbeam. Why be depressed for so long? Didn't you like my words?
I did.
Then why did you raise your hand?
I just don't understand them.
You didn't accept my words just now?
They didn't feel sincere to me.
Really? And what would sound sincere to you? How would you say it so it sounds sincere? Anna, come on, why are you crying, huh?
That's it.
Really? Don't cry, why are you upset? Everything's fine, right? Who liked that? No one's raising their hand. All right, well, so be it. There are always exceptions to the rule, but you need to understand one thing. Female nature needs tenderness, kindness, and genuine, heartfelt emotions. Women's nature needs feminine. A man is not a woman. There's nothing feminine about him. When a man acts in a feminine way toward a woman, it means there are only two options. The first, he's being submissive or manipulative, as you suggested. And the second, he has knowledge of how to behave with a woman. You assumed I was being manipulative, but I wasn't. I was acting kindly because I can see and feel your circumstances, your fate. Sometimes a woman experiences a profound emotional wound from a man and becomes afraid to trust him or believe he can be kind, gentle, or tender. That's the reason. But deep down, a woman's heart desires precisely those kinds of interactions. In a close relationship, a woman wants to be treated in a feminine way, kindly, gently, tenderly. A man must learn to do this even though it's not in his nature. It's essential to understand how the other person feels. A woman feels delicate, tender, pure, radiant, vulnerable, and special. That's how a woman feels, and a man must treat her in a way that aligns with how she feels about herself. She also wants certain things from him. For example, she wants to feel like she's the best in his eyes. A man must tell a woman, "You're the best." Now you might say, that's insincere. If I'm not actually the best, why say that? That's a mistake because ultimately the best is God. No one is greater than God. But still, a man must say, "You're the best," to show the woman his intention, his desire, his aspiration for how he wants to treat her. Some men think, "She's not the best for me, and if I say that, she'll get too arrogant." That's mistrust. If she becomes arrogant, then guide her. When you start leading the relationship in the right direction, what's the initial reaction from the other person? They release their poison. For example, you say, "You're the best, you're so wonderful. Sweetheart, don't hide your beautiful eyes." I kind of said something foolish. But let's say a man says a phrase like that. First of all, a man rarely considers his words foolish. If he says something, he doesn't change his opinion easily. It takes time. Women, on the other hand, can change their opinions quickly. Men don't. But when a man says, "Forgive me for my foolish words," it shows that he respects the woman's perspective. If she considers his words foolish, fine, it's not a big deal. Respecting someone else's opinion is a sign of wisdom. That opinion is based on something. People don't think the way they do for no reason. For example, if a woman says, "I prefer these kinds of words," there's a reason for it, a deep psychological foundation behind her preference. We often disregard these foundations and think, "You should behave this way with me and I'll talk to you like this." Some men think, "I'll speak the truth, apologies if it hurts, but I don't consider myself wrong." The truth is, since ancient times, there has been a struggle between truth and love in relationships. Most people put truth first and love second. This is a tremendous mistake because if a man wants a healthy relationship, he must put love first and say, "I was wrong, you're divine and I was wrong, you're the best and I'm not." This is how a man should treat a woman. Then happiness will awaken in her heart. She'll see that he's a good person because humility inspires love. If he says, "I'm right, but I apologize anyway," she'll think, "Why are you apologizing if you believe you're right?" That will be her natural reaction. And if he responds, "If you don't like it, I won't apologize at all," and walks away, she'll end up thinking, "Why did I marry this man?" If a person values truth over love, then love will not flourish. It's paradoxical, but love, in a way, is a game. This doesn't mean it's false, hypocritical, or deceitful. However, such things can happen, and women often fall for them because there are two types of men. The first type behaves kindly, like a genuinely good person when getting to know someone. He wants to marry the woman, and he's a bit shy about the situation. If a man really likes a woman, he'll feel shy and delicate, and his behavior might seem hesitant. The woman might think, "What's wrong with this guy? He seems so awkward." But he's simply in love, you see. Then there's the second type of man. He doesn't love the woman, but wants to sleep with her, and knows exactly how to act to achieve his goal. This man will speak gently and sweetly to the woman. "You're amazing. Let me take you out to dinner." He acts relaxed and confident, giving off an air of charm. The woman loses her head thinking, this is love, finally, but it's not love, it's a trap, a deception. In the end, she's left alone. He used her and then left her. This world has its mysteries. Those gentle words, the sweet way a man speaks to a woman, should be shown by a husband to his wife. Such relationships have a lightness to them. My dear, how are you doing? A man doesn't actually care how she's doing. He's more focused on sex, physical intimacy, and food. What does a man want? He wants to kiss his wife, have sex with her, eat well, and have her do his laundry, stroke his head, and maybe a few other things. In essence, he wants to use her in every way possible. Asking her, how are you doing? How's life? Doesn't matter to him. Hugging, kissing, that's all he needs. As for how she's really doing, that's her problem, as far as he's concerned. He wants her to embrace him, but if a man resists being hugged, it means he's already overwhelmed by her love. This is the flip side of the coin, when someone suffocates another with their love. That isn't love, it's an insatiable craving. Do you know why she doesn't want to hug you? Because it's like, the moment you leave, I'm already chasing after you. Love based on craving, love based on dependency destroys any relationship. A person must be self-sufficient in a relationship.
If a person is self-sufficient in a relationship, then why do they need one?
Even a self-sufficient person still desires love. They have God, a relationship with God, of course, but people also want to build relationships with others. Love isn't limited to God, it extends to everything around them. If I love apples, does that mean I don't need pears? If I love apples, I can still try pears. Why? Because I can love them too. One doesn't exclude the other. In other words, God gives people the strength to be self-sufficient, to live. That said, there are people who no longer feel the need for family. They have God, and they can live as monks. Such people exist. But most people aren't capable of building a relationship with God so deep that they don't desire a family, children, and so on. Young lady, now let me ask you something because your question has a deeper layer. Please pass her the microphone. Young lady in red, I have a question for you. What bothers you about someone having a relationship with God?
Why would another person need someone who has God?
Oh, so you've met someone like that?
No, I don't have a husband or a boyfriend. I'm very young. I'm 22 years old. Why would I get married now?
Is this your first time at one of my lectures?
I was here yesterday. I've been listening to your lectures for a long time.
Let me explain why people need God.
I understand why people need God.
And why would a person with God in their life need another person?
Yes, that's what I don't understand.
Another person is needed so they can share God with them. A wealthy person needs a way to share their wealth. It's about living. If someone has God, they can share that connection and be happy in relationships because having God awakens a strong desire to serve selflessly. This is a sign that God is present when a person wants to make others happy. Another reason is that most people aren't so spiritually advanced that they can only build a relationship with God. They still carry desires for family, happiness, and companionship in their hearts. But if a person leans on God, it becomes easier to live happily within a family and maintain relationships. Your question is valid. Why does someone need a family if they already have God? You're suggesting that if someone is truly self-sufficient in their relationship with God and is saintly, then they don't need a family, and there are indeed people like that. They live without one. But when a person leans on God, they gain enough strength to endure another person's flaws. They become more beautiful and majestic, and they bring great joy to those around them. And they genuinely want to serve and care for another person. Now I have another question for you. Did you believe what I just said?
No.
That's why I handed you the microphone, because I'm not really speaking to you right now. You're not ready to listen to me yet.
I believe you, but I have so many contradictions inside.
Of course, that's a good thing. What is your name?
Annie.
You know, Annie, you are an amazing person. Despite your inner contradictions, you keep listening to my lectures. That's a sign of a strong intellect. Thank you so much. Be happy.
Thank you.
Let's move forward. So we are talking about relationships. It's very important to know that in healthy relationships, a light-hearted approach predominates. Light-heartedness feels like playfulness. A man might sound as if he's being insincere. For example, he goes to his wife and says, "Oh, my dear, my sweet, gentle little berry, don't be sad, be happy." He may not actually feel that way at the moment. He might be thinking, "This cobra, this sneaky snake, she's not a berry at all. She's driving me crazy. She always needs something from me. She'll never stop. I'm exhausted." But instead he says, "My dear Barry, don't be sad, everything will be fine." If he says it genuinely, kindly, without ulterior motives, he's not being deceptive, he's acting because he understands how to treat a woman properly. In time, she will begin to embody what he's saying. She'll feel comfortable and happy around him, and her kindness, purity, and natural capacity for love will awaken. She will feel very good, which will lead to more delicacy in her interactions. She'll behave better than she did before. Why? Because she'll sense that someone sees and respects her feminine, divine, higher nature. By nature, a woman is a very independent being. She doesn't like being ordered around or having to obey anyone. This state of submission in a woman doesn't come from a desire to obey, but arises naturally as a result of aligning with the energy of love. For instance, when a woman feels love, she automatically becomes more agreeable. If he asks, "Do you like that I'm a pilot?" she responds, "Of course." But if you think about it, she never really gave it much thought. And he thinks, "Wow, how great that I'm a pilot," and she likes pilots. For her, whether he's a pilot or not doesn't matter. She likes that he loves her, and because of that, she agrees with everything for as long as he loves her. Pilot? Great. Tank driver? Fine. Loving someone means more than infatuation. It means fulfilling your responsibilities. If you are kind, gentle, and caring, she will reciprocate that way her entire life. This is the main message I want to share today. It's crucial to understand this. If you consistently treat a woman delicately, kindly, and gently, the initial response might not be what you expect, especially if you haven't behaved this way before. At first, she might say, "Why are you treating me like this? You don't mean it." She might not trust it initially, but over time, as you persist with this kind approach, she'll begin to relax and accept it. Initially, she might lash out with accusations, doubts, or frustrations, saying things like, "You're this way or that way." You'll need to endure all of this with patience, prayer, and faith until her heart calms down. Once she's at peace, she will naturally feel the desire to care for you and do good things within her capabilities. Like anyone else, a woman can only give as much as she's able, though sometimes she may go beyond that. What challenges come with this? The main challenge is that a man might think, "Why should I do all this if I don't feel or believe it?" Let me explain why. There's a certain etiquette. For example, when you enter a temple, you bow. If you don't bow, it's considered disrespectful. It would have been better if you hadn't entered at all. Because if you enter a temple and don't bow to the Lord, you risk being reprimanded. The same applies if you decide to speak with the president of a country. Maybe you shouldn't. You say, "No, I want to." Then speak correctly. There's etiquette. If you don't follow etiquette while speaking, there might be consequences. And those consequences could be serious. It's not like arguing with a tractor driver. He might grab a wrench and chase after you, but you can run away, and that's the end of it. But with the president of a country, you can't just run away. Well, maybe you can, if you make it to another country in time. Understand that a woman possesses a divine nature. As I mentioned yesterday, she has both a divine side and a human side. You must respect that divine side. If you want to engage with the energy of love, you must respect it. There's an etiquette to follow. You should treat a woman kindly, gently, with care and tenderness. Don't overwhelm her emotionally. If you want to explain something to her, first calm her down. Then delicately tell her, like a story. Some women are very tidy, and others, not so much. And she'll listen. She'll listen to the story. But if you say, "You're a slob," what will you hear in response? She'll respond, "You're the slob." You might claim she's not listening to the truth. And she'll say, "No, you're the one who's not listening." Why? Let's break down this dialogue. It's a common scenario in life. If we look at a woman's psyche, it's designed for love. Without love, there's no truth. For example, if he tells her, "You're messy," and he says it without love, there's no love in those words, then what's the point of saying them to her? She wasn't born for this. Where's the truth in this? It only makes her feel hurt, offended, and immediately she starts recalling his flaws. There's a trait in a woman's psyche. She remembers all her husband's flaws for a lifetime. Meanwhile, he doesn't remember her flaws. He has a desire to see her beauty. He knows she has flaws, but he forgets them quickly. So when he says, "You're messy," noticing one of her flaws, she pulls out the machine gun of her memory. And she fires back, listing everything he's done wrong, when and where. She says, "And you're calling me messy?" Now he's thinking, "I shouldn't have said anything at all." Correct. Either say it the right way or say nothing. Because if you want love, then behave appropriately. Act the way you should when dealing with the energy of love, because it has a divine nature. And this divine nature flows through your wife. If you want love, treat her properly. If you don't, stay alone. That's the choice. Otherwise, you'll suffer. Because a woman will never agree to be treated this way, with harshness, rudeness, pressure, or lecturing. When he says, I'll explain to you how it should be.
Excuse me, but how should a man work on himself? My husband is always like, blah, blah, blah.
Lady, I'm talking to the men right now. I'm explaining things to them. If you listen to this, it could destroy your family. If he behaves like that, it's no big deal. You should focus on information about how a woman should behave with a man. If you behave properly with your husband, he will become the right kind of man over time. If you don't, he won't. You need to focus on this rather than thinking, take notes. Dr. Torsunov says, this is how you should behave with me. Yesterday I was riding with my driver. He told me, good thing my wife didn't come to today's lecture, because it would have been costly. It's true. When a woman learns how she should be treated, it's costly. This knowledge can even ruin a family. How many of you went home yesterday and started telling your husband how he should behave with you? That's it. You're on your way to ruining your family.
No, he listens. On the contrary, he wants to know what to do.
Does he listen? Then he deserves a statue in his honor. Imagine having such a husband, and he even asks questions. Just sit down and enjoy the lecture. Thus, it's essential to understand that a woman is the foundation of the family. She is the source of love. She either blesses the family or curses it. This is why it's crucial for a man to understand that he's not the center of the universe. Even if it might seem that way, he must start treating a woman as he should so that his life doesn't fall apart. How should he treat her? Gently. My dear, how are you feeling? Even if it's not interesting to him, he must ask, because a woman craves close relationships. This means she wants her feelings, her joys and sorrows to be recognized. Why is that? Why does she want this? Because the energy of love cannot move in any other way. For example, she wants to give you her love. How can she give it? Only one way. If you approach her and ask, how are you feeling? Then she can respond, I'm feeling good, and offer her love energy. But if you don't approach her and don't ask, how will she give it? Let's say she comes up to you and says, I feel good today. And you respond, oh, okay, that's nice. Next time she won't bother coming to you. Why would she? Imagine she approaches you and says, I'm feeling great today. How about you? And you respond, I'm busy. I need to work. Work? Then go to work. Why did you get married? Why did you come into a family if all you want to do is work? If you want love, you have to pay the price. The price of love is adopting a very soft, kind, and gentle approach. For a man, this is a great asceticism practice. How is a man wired? He is goal-oriented, focused on conquering and achieving. And he has to tear himself away from that focus. It's hard for him to enter a different state of mind because many men are frankly couch potatoes. Why are they lazy? Because it takes a lot of effort for a man to get himself into a state of readiness for battle, for life's challenges. Once he's fully engaged in conquering, he then has to shift gears and engage in small talk with his wife for as long as she needs. And yet, the battle of life continues nonstop. It's not easy for him to keep stepping away from the battlefield for too long. And he thinks, Lord, how much longer can this go on? As long as needed, that's how long. The woman thinks, you married me, so make me happy. That's what she lives for, not for victory, but for happiness.
Can't she get spoiled?
She can. She definitely will get spoiled. That's why you need to say, get out. Don't laugh because the man is very wise. He's telling the truth, but this truth has a continuation. Because when talking about relationships, one should know that the first result of such behavior with a woman is pride. When a woman sees that she's being treated this way, the first thing that happens is she starts wanting it more and more. And at some point, she starts considering herself better than him. Every person is built this way. We are all proud. But in her heart, without you noticing, a very deep gratitude will appear for the way you behave, because in this world, it's very rare for a woman to receive such behavior from a man. It's simply a treasure for her. She will undoubtedly become brazen and want more of this treasure. If he stops behaving this way at some point, she will immediately start driving him crazy. But another movement in the opposite direction will also occur. A woman feels gratitude in her heart. She has the feeling that this person can make me happy. And that's what's important for a woman, that this person can make me happy. This immediately makes her faithful. She doesn't need anything else. She will strive only for this relationship because the river has started flowing in this case. She begins to live. The woman feels very good and begins to live. She needs exactly these relationships. She was born for them. And the gratitude of the heart will live parallel to pride, but pride will always be stronger because a person is afraid to show their gratitude. She's afraid that the close person will become proud from this, that he will think he's a very cool husband. Why should I spoil him with my good opinion of him? But gratitude is God's energy. A person can neither hide it, nor contain it, nor remove it. This is the Lord coming into the heart in the form of gratitude, and a person can't do anything about it. One cannot suppress it. It lives in the heart. And at some point, when a man sees that a woman is exceeding her rights, she starts behaving badly. He can distance from her and start to discipline her. And gratitude will make her listen, because when he starts to discipline her, she sees that she's losing what she has. She will immediately change her perception going through certain stages. First, she will be angry. That means she will try to force things. If force doesn't work, then she'll try persuasion. She will say, "Why are you like this? Everything is fine. Everything is good between us. Sorry. Don't give in." At the third stage, she will understand that she's losing the person, doing something wrong. She will come to her senses and will learn to behave correctly. A person who takes care of their loved one correctly gets a bonus. They can move to the next stage of love, which is called education. Without these two things, taking care and education, there is no love. If there's only care, a person becomes a monster. If there's only education, a person becomes completely suppressed. Only one option remains. It's taking care first, then education. There's this children's song, first feeding, and then education. You see, first you need to feed a person and then educate them. That's a fact. I'm now telling you how to feed a woman, how to make her feel that she has received what she needs in life. You may think that I'm just talking about one type of relationship. I'm telling you about the very nature of women, that a woman has such nature. She is very sensitive, very delicate, very kind, gentle, vulnerable, and desires love. Love means harmony in this case. Harmony with what? Only with what she has. Not with what you have. Every person is selfish by nature, therefore a woman considers it harmony when she is treated gently, tenderly, delicately, and kindly. This means that you are a good and harmonious person, and if you behave strictly, roughly, it means you are a bad person, not good. Harmony for a woman is always related to things that concern her personally. All people are built this way. They think the whole world is revolving around them. A woman thinks that if you're not gentle, not tender, it means you're a bad person altogether. But he's not a bad person. He just doesn't understand how to behave with a woman. Because such behavior with a woman is an asceticism practice for men. It is not his natural behavior. His nature is to win, to be serious, reasonable, to have principles in life, to fight, to pray, to overcome difficulties. This is the nature of a man. And this is unnatural when he says, "How are you doing?" And this is exactly what a woman wants. She wants feminine life from a man. This is what the asceticism practice is about. But this gives love. Love starts flowing from her because otherwise she's constrained. She cannot love. Love only lives in tender relationships. It cannot live in roughness, rudeness, strictness, seriousness, in one's reasoning. There's no love for her there. All of this blocks love. And what's the contradiction? A man can be tough, overcome everything, conquer everything, but he can't behave normally with a woman, and she goes crazy next to him. On one hand, she wants exactly such a man, one who is victorious, a real man, but on the other hand, there's no life with him. This is what a woman was telling me just half an hour ago when questions were being asked. She says, "The person is very good. Please raise your hand," the girl who asked this question. She was sitting in the first row. The person is very good, but there's no love with him, no relationship, no life. This is what I'm talking about now. The person is good. As a man, he's great. But he doesn't know how to love, how to make the energy of love flow. He doesn't understand, doesn't know. There's no wisdom, no experience. Now about women. We're moving to another part of our discussion. Ladies, try to understand that a man is built exactly the same way. A man wants from a woman not feminine things, strange as it may seem, but masculine things, but it's veiled. Let's say a man wants you to obey him. For example, he says, "Bring me a glass," and she immediately brings it. Ladies, I'm telling you how love enters a man's heart. Why does he love his wife? I'm revealing a secret to you. The secret is that this is not natural for you. A woman by nature is an independent being. She depends only on the energy of love. When there is love, she melts and becomes submissive by her nature. She submits only to love, not to a person, but exactly to love. And if, let's say, a person behaves delicately, softly, tenderly, she becomes submissive, ready to care, to do anything. But now, ladies, I'm telling you how to engage a man in relationships. Because for him to be caring, delicate, tender, tactful, this requires him to be wise. And if he's not that wise, will you get divorced? No, there's another way. You can engage in relationships in such a way that he will fall in love with you. We were just talking about when a woman falls in love. Love is a mutual process. How to make a man fall in love, this is also a great asceticism practice. Now I will tell you important things. If a woman, let's say, looks at her husband with eyes of faithfulness, but she doesn't lose herself, she's not humiliated. She looks at him with eyes of faithfulness. He gets an opportunity to receive the energy of love from her. She is faithful. The energy of love flows into his heart. A man, unlike a woman, lacks the energy of love. He is in need of this energy. A woman is not deprived of the energy of love. She is the giver. And this is the answer to the question, if there is God, why do we need anyone else? A woman is a giver. She doesn't need love. She has love, but for love to live, someone is needed. If a person is not involved in relationships, then love doesn't live in the heart. Someone is needed for love to live. Someone is needed, some person. And in order for him to engage in relationships, you need to know how to behave with a man. This is an asceticism practice for any woman, because a woman by nature doesn't like any violence. But she needs to behave with him as if she is completely subordinate to him in everything. For example, when she looks at him, he can see complete faithfulness in her eyes, and this allows the man to receive this energy of love, which he desperately needs, cannot live without. How much love is there in a woman? She can love a dog, a child, mom, dad, someone else. And all of this is love. She lives with this energy. She can hug other women, her friends. She can love her children. She has so many opportunities to love. Then the question immediately arises, why does she need a man if there are so many opportunities? A man is needed for protection, because it's scary without a man. And a man is also needed to love her in return. And it's clear that this is a great value for a woman, that specifically a man loves her, not someone else. This is a great value. It's definitely her highest value. She herself loves children more. A woman loves children more than anything in the world, but wants a man to love her. Love means protection, opportunities to raise children, so that everything is good in her life. For her to feel great, she needs a man, and she needs him to love her. That's what she needs. There's a man, he loves me, and I love children. Everything is great in life then. So if a woman looks at her husband and thinks, I could find someone better, at this moment the energy of love from her doesn't flow into him. He looks at her. She's beautiful, a good person, but he can't receive the energy of love from her because there's no faithfulness. Faithfulness is the foundation for him to receive what she has. And if he hasn't received what she has, it means he will search for it because he lacks it. He lacks the energy of love. He has a shortage of it. If a woman lacks the ability to give love, then a man lacks love itself. He needs love. He lacks it. That's why he drinks. Why do men drink, smoke, cheat? Because if a man doesn't have love, he lacks love, he gets tense, his psyche becomes very tense, and he can't continue living. He needs to drink this artificial energy of love. When a person drinks alcohol, he connects with a merry spirit that gives him a feeling that everything is good, love is all around, and he thinks, great, everything is awesome, I don't need a woman. That's why men often choose the bottle over a wife, because with a wife it's too complicated, but with a bottle everything is simple. Either the wife gives the energy of love, or he looks for a mistress. He needs the energy of love. If the wife doesn't look with faithful eyes, if he's not the best for her, then love won't enter him, whether you smile or not, whether you cook or not. And this means that he will look for another woman. This is the reason for male infidelity. Because you became disappointed in him, don't consider him the best for you. The energy of love doesn't enter him, he needs something else. If a husband left for another woman, that's a different topic. When a man leaves for another woman, destroying the family. As a result, a man develops a strong heat in his heart. When a man destroys a family, tears his wife out of his heart, he develops a strong heat in his heart. The heat of love. His wife doesn't love him or he doesn't feel love from her, so he leaves. Heat develops, he feels hot. He needs love. And he finds a girl he falls deeply in love with. And because he falls so deeply in love, he draws love from her. As a result, she becomes cold towards him first and then cruelly dumps him. You get what you fought for. For a woman, it's the opposite. If she leaves her husband, a strong coldness develops in her heart, and she can't find anyone for herself. She dates, but there are no close family relationships. Because it's the woman's heart that attracts a man, not her beauty. A kind heart attracts men. If a woman leaves, her heart closes, it stops being kind, because a woman herself cannot activate kindness in her heart. She can make herself beautiful on the outside, but she can't activate kindness in her heart, because God does that. And therefore, a woman who leaves her husband, she loses the ability to have close relationships with a man. As the song goes, here's what's happening to me. My old friend doesn't visit me anymore, but various others, not the right ones, come idly. What's happening to you? You left your husband, that's what's happening to you. You need to make amends, pray, so that God forgives you, and then there will be another chance. Let's move on. A woman must perform asceticism practice. She must understand in her heart that if she thinks this person isn't right for her, it means she will lose him. You might say, but what if it's true? I could find someone better. If that's the case, the man doesn't suit you, you don't like him. My dears, try to understand that everyone has this. A man is not God. Sooner or later you'll understand that he has flaws. And you'll get a feeling that you could find someone better. This feeling is a delusion. It's simply a false feeling. Because a woman, I repeat once again, deifies herself very strongly. That's why she's beautiful. Why is a woman beautiful? Because she considers herself the best. She looks at herself in the mirror and thinks, Lord, how good I am, what a fool got me. This is the natural state of any woman. She is in an illusion about herself, and therefore she spreads this illusion to others. That's why people fall in love with her. They think, with your floating walk you came out of paradise and disappeared from sight. A woman herself believes that she came from paradise, and therefore a man also falls for this provocation and starts to think the same way. There are pros and cons here. The downside is that she starts living with him and thinking, but you didn't come from paradise? It's interesting how a woman's psyche works. She looks at everything from the perspective of feminine energies. She thinks, I speak tenderly. He's not tender. Therefore he's worse. I behave kindly, I care for him, he doesn't take care of me, therefore he's worse. I kept quiet, didn't say anything, he didn't keep quiet, therefore he's worse. She gradually starts to believe that he's not as dignified and pure as she is. But a woman is naturally inclined to speak more softly and tenderly. She tends to behave delicately and tactfully. She is inclined to take care of home, for example. From this point of view, all women are better than men, but a reasonable woman won't think this way. Because a reasonable woman understands that this is just an illusion that destroys her family. Because all the best qualities in a man are hidden from sight. In a woman, everything is on the surface. Therefore, she needs to be careful with such thinking. She needs to understand that if she has allowed this thought into her head, although a woman through her asceticism practice can prevent this thought from entering her mind, God gave her such ability. For example, don't think like that. You shouldn't think like that. This is my person. God gave him to me, my only person. I don't need anyone else. This is how she sets herself up. The name of this female asceticism practice is faithfulness. A woman should behave this way in relationships. If she behaves like this, then his tendency to chase other women disappears. He might look at other women, but he can't start building relationships with them because his wife's faithfulness doesn't allow it. If a woman is very faithful, she takes a place in his heart. When the place is taken, he can't go anywhere. A man cannot betray female faithfulness. Remember this. A man strives for this all his life, starting from the moment he was born. He opened his eyes. What does he see in front of him? He sees his mother, who is absolutely faithful to him. She looks at him with very faithful, pure, and bright eyes. From this moment he remembers this look, and then he wants the same look from his wife. He searches for this look all his life, the look of faithfulness and purity. If he finds such a woman, he starts loving her immediately. But if she then starts thinking that she could find someone better, he can't command his heart anymore. For him, living with her becomes an asceticism practice. He lives, suffers, makes an effort. It's very difficult for him. Therefore, a woman should perform such asceticism practice. She should tell herself, this is my person. Accept her husband, his character, his flaws. Say to herself, this is my destiny. I will be happy with this person. I am faithful to him. This doesn't mean that she's humiliated, should become a slave, indulge his whims. She just needs to cultivate a feeling of faithfulness to husband in her heart. Now let's talk about what men really like. What attracts them to a woman? What delights them? When a woman looks at him with dignity. For example, he says, bring me some water, and she immediately responds submissively, yes, my dear, and runs to fetch him water. He doesn't like it. He thinks, who did I marry? A woman who is inherently dignified, joyful, graceful, self-sufficient. Why would a self-sufficient person need another person? For a normal life, it's boring without people. And when such a woman hears his request, she responds, I'll bring it. She obeys him, but of her own free will. She could have not brought it. She can even look at him closely first. To show that I am divine, but I'm bringing you water. And then it's perfect. He'll think, such a divine being is bringing me water. Amazing, pure happiness. Do you understand, ladies? If you rush to bring him water, you have no dignity. He will push you around, then leave you. Find another woman, a divine one, who won't bring water, but will have dignity. But he won't like her either in the end. Then he'll say, Lord, why did I leave my wife? At least she used to bring me water.
What if the husband brings everything?
Do you like such a husband?
It's nice.
Nice? Will you leave him?
No.
No, that's what I'm talking about practice. Let's try again. Your husband brings everything, right?
Yes.
Does he listen to my lectures?
My husband, no.
He brings everything, takes care of you. It's nice. Will you leave him?
No.
Why?
I respect him. I see that this is how he shows his love.
Do you feel that your ability to love has been fulfilled in this person? Do you feel easy and good with him?
It varies.
Essentially, in the most important things.
He just tries. And maybe he falls short somewhere, but he makes efforts. Gets up at 4 or 5 in the morning, prepares everything.
Men, you see, even if you're constantly fulfilling all your wife's needs like her husband, you'll still fall a bit short. But even in this case, there is one advantage. The advantage is that she won't leave you. That's the advantage. All right, thank you very much. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.